why volunteer with NLI? Well, first off, I want to mention, like, what do I consider NLI to be? I consider it a very loose, laissez-faire type of free system that people can utilize for whatever benefit they find and discard what they don't want. Okay, so you can utilize, do whatever you want, combine what you don't want. But we want to educate Intactivists, and we want to organize ourselves. So we want to organize ourselves around creating opportunities that are higher value for Intactivists than what we have presently and available to us. Whether it's social media, if you've noticed that our likes on social media, our shares on social media, the people we have reading our emails are vastly lowered compared to what it was 5 years ago or 10 years ago. So basically what we have is a system of shadow ban where these organizations that benefit from keeping this information out of people's hands, they utilize algorithms and different types of systems to limit the ability of people to create social change on these platforms. So it's really about the general norm, and of course we're going against the social norm. So a lot of times we'll get banned or something like that. So low class cutters, are you tired of having debates with somebody who's just has no class, no education, no value, and maybe they have a child, maybe you can influence them, maybe not, but most likely not. Of course, there is the benefit of seating and maybe other people reading the protest and things, but the truth fact of the matter is social media is just really not the end all be all when it comes to Intactivism. And what I call it, it's kind of like going to the ocean, spitting in the ocean. Okay, yeah, you may spit on one crab, but you're not going to do much. I would rather go to a pond and explode a stick of dynamite, and that's what the gathering the database allows us to do, and then the outreach stuff allows us to do. Okay, so we do this because so many of us are getting burnt out. We're tired of having these low class debates with people that are just the lowest form of humanity you can possibly imagine. I mean, you get that in your heart enough times, and it just starts to drag you down and influences you in a negative way. And that, in my opinion, is affecting your ability to really be effective and efficient with Intactivism. So we really need to be aware of this and give Intactivists other options. And we want to reach far more people and save far more babies. So if you want to do that, you're in the right place. Okay, high value targets. The difference between a high value target is they're more aware, often more educated. They're more aware. They're more likely to question dominant paradigms. They've taken sociology, psychology, logic, probably been in a debate class. They've taken the foundations that would allow one to see this for what it really is. And a huge bit of my ability to understand this has been just understanding how just taking Sociology 101, such a valuable course in school. I wish we would teach that to high school students, because that's when they really need to know that stuff about how these types of behaviors and beliefs become part of our thought processes. Okay, they're more likely to quickly question dominant paradigms. You're going to have much better conversations. I had a conversation, I've mentioned this a couple times, with I was like looking at UTIs, and I was like, okay, what's the real, let me read all these studies that supposedly say that there's some benefit to UTIs. And so I started going down the UTI rabbit hole. And it's like, it's really ridiculous. Self-referencing and, it's just circular referencing, and it's just the weakest studies. And there's this one study that was just kind of particularly ridiculous, and it showed some small ridiculous benefit to UTIs, and it was a study anyway. I found one of the researchers' names, and I followed her link to a phone number on a website. And I was like, wow, I have a phone number of this person that did this. I'm gonna call this person. I'm gonna give her a piece of my mind. But when she listened to me, I said, this harmed me. This has harmed my life. This harmed my experience of life. This harmed my psychology. And this damaged me. And she said, I'm sorry, and proceeded to apologize. I could hear the emotion in her voice. And then she said, at the end of the phone conversation, she said, I'm a professor at such and such, I think it's University of Tennessee. I teach pediatricians. I have a series of folders that I give all of my pediatrician students. I can include any educational material you have in this folder that all my medical students will have access to. And that was her way of compensating, I think, a little bit. But she was, I was aware that she was aware of how this, she was in tune, I guess, empathetic towards me, right? Which was rare. I don't get that a lot. So, and this was a researcher who now has access to Sorrells, Taylor, Colton, Lockwood, the basics, the fundamental basics that educate you about the true anatomy of what we're missing. Okay, so just that example alone, imagine if you had 10 of those conversations over the next 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Imagine just having one of those conversations every 2 weeks. Imagine doing that. This lady may have, through her, I may have been able to save thousands of babies through doctors that are not going to be mutilating, right? I may have had an influence on them. So to me, it's like, why are we doing this social media, things that are harming our psychology, that are making us feel like shit? We can have conversations that are uplifting, make you feel amazing, and you're talking to an educated person who is unaware, and they need to be aware of this. You're doing them a favor, right? This is the best information you give anybody that has the potential to do this to a child, because these children are going to grow up. There's good people out there and they don't have access to information. We need to give this information to these people. So potential high value targets. We started with the media because, we were doing protests, and very little media was showing up to our protests, and very little effort was made to contact the media. So we decided that if we're going to send Intactivist money out there to do protests, that we need to make sure that those efforts are, milked to the fullest potential. We have in the past have gotten over 20 articles published. We have been influential in. I can't say that we are the only reason those were published, because some of them were published because of other organizations, but we were the ones that outreached these organizations and caused a massive increase in the number of articles published by that organization, which was phenomenal. We had 20 articles published. That's a huge potential of outreach. Okay, so this does work. It already works. It can't not work, right? There's going to be some people you're run into. They're just the lowest class people, and even though they're educated or whatever, they're just the most entrenched, and they're not going to budge. But there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people, and let's say out of these people, Paul mentions about 20%. 20% of sales, you're going to have an influence. Okay, 20%. If we had a 20% influence on the people that we contact, my God, what are we waiting for? This is what we're looking for. Okay, so anyways, right now we've got 7 different states completely done. That means everything we can find on the internet, probably 95% of anything, any contact information on media organizations or outlets within those 7 states. And that's, I can't remember them all, but I know California is the biggest one that we've got done. It's 1,200 media outlets. We got them all categorized, all completed. Brett Johnson, who's on the phone call, by the way, is the person that kind of started this system. He's the one that actually started creating it, and then I kind of took it over. So thank you, Brett. Brett runs an organization called cockfight.org. Say what's up, Brett.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Brett. Brett, by the way, is the first person I ever protested. He came because I was in Columbia, Missouri for the True False Festival. And Brett was in Kansas City, Missouri. So Brett came to Columbia, Missouri, and I was telling people about this a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. The look on those people's faces, right, Brett? Like, these are like the educated, professional, like liberal class, right? It's True False Festival, huge independent film festival in Columbia, Missouri, at the university, which is a huge university. And and we went there with sign. Here's these supposedly educated people who know every outside the box issue of civil rights in society that could possibly be. These are the ones that are the ones that are.
That was fun.
Yeah, and
that was a great idea. Yeah.
They looked at us like we were like. I mean, it was like shock to them. Because they were like, wait, there's a big, huge issue that we're unaware of right under our noses. That's probably one of the worst issues that we've ever just uncovered, and we don't even know about it. It was just like shocking. It was great. anyways, let's get back to the list. So we got the high value targets. We've got reporters, editors, publishers, producers. We've got doulas and midwives. Michelle is working on the doulas and midwives in Colorado. We have Lee working on the doulas and midwives in New York. Anybody that wants to jump on any of this stuff, feel free to contact me. That's why we're doing this stuff, is we need the volunteers. I'll explain how the volunteers works soon. Okay, so here's the list: religious leaders, parental groups, other activists, child psychologists, injury lawyers, medical professionals, university professors. The reason why we did media first was because we were doing protests in towns and we wanted the media to come, right? And of course, he was going to be writing the papers about this stuff as media, as articles or things of potential for media or value to media, you know. So we want to make sure that the media is educated, so we don't get these, oh, but the AAP says da 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 da, or, you know, there's benefits of UTIs, balanitis, phimosis, or any of this other, you know, just the ridiculousness that we get. We want to get that out of these articles. Now, one of the interesting things is Brett read this article. Remember that? Trying to remember the name of it. It's like WEK or something, like WEP or whatever. It's a organization in Florida. I sent him an email, and this was not the kumbaya, let's hold hands. I'm gonna, you know, I'm a professional, and here's the educational system. It's nothing like that. I wrote that email to be emotionally outraging. I wanted to get the reporters to feel that there's, you know, that there's something here grave, that there's a real something here. I wanted to be the squeaky wheel. And from that email, we got 20 articles printed. And so anyways, so if you want to join us, what I would say is fill out our questionnaire. This gives us an idea of where to place you, you know, what your interests are, what time availability you have, and any special skills and talents that you can contribute. One of the things I do need, thank you, Sarah, is someone to help me with editing. I could really benefit from editing. Anyone that does sales, anybody that writes, anybody that's like, you know, if you're good at poetry, if you're good at writing, if you're good at communicating, if you're good at influencing, you know, we need your skills. So please let us know. So anyways, we want to use any special skills and talents you can contribute. So for example, Paul, he's going to contribute his sales expertise and vastly improve our ability to influence people. We have Reed, who's taking a break for personal reasons, who is developing a software system to help us gather data so that we can have easier access to data, which is hopefully we'll be getting that in the future. So, but Reed's, hopefully he'll be coming back to us eventually. But anyways, that's where we're at. Okay, so fill out the questionnaire. Once you fill out the questionnaire, what I want you to, some more, if you want more information, you can read our volunteer page to find out more about kind of what we're doing. You can self-brand yourself with this. I don't think that if you join us on a phone call or if you contribute to us in any way, that you're a part of something that you're, oh, now you're NLI or something like that. Like, I don't want it to be like that. This is like a very loose group of Intactivists who just want to help each other out. So there's no, like, you're not stuck in some, you know, thing. So if you create a system, right? If you say, hey, I want to outreach to somebody, you can create your own brand, you can make it your own, you can create your own organization, you can do whatever you want, okay? What we want to do is we want to get Intactivists doing this effective and efficient action, whether or not they're contributing like directly with us, or they're involved with us, or they even use our campaigns. We create turnkey systems that you can use to create high value, effective, and efficient educational outreach. So what I mean by turnkey systems is if somebody wants to join us, what we do is we can create a database for you, whatever your interests are, you know, whatever your focus wants, whatever you want to be, whatever you want to focus, we want to utilize your ideas as well. Like, you know, whatever good ideas you have, this is your ability to contribute to Intactivism. What we want to do is we want to support every Intactivist who we can benefit. Okay, so whatever benefit we can provide, whatever way we can provide it, that's who we want to be. So what I mean by turnkey is if you jump on this, say, I want to do this, you get a database that's already set up for you. You have campaigns that are already written for you. You have tele-Intactivism scripts that are already done for you. You have everything you need to get out there and reach thousands and save thousands of babies. Every person that does this, in my opinion, will be responsible for thousands of babies through the butterfly effect. Just right now, if we just had, like, let's say we were 3 campaigns into the doulas and midwives database, into the doulas and midwives right here. Who's more valuable than a doula midwife? First off, they're easy to access. Okay, it's very hard to get a hold of pediatricians. Okay, it's very hard. They're behind a little wall of receptionists and appointment setting and all that other stuff, right? Midwives and doulas are business owners that are trying to get their business. They're marketing their business. They're very easy to connect and approach with, right? Because they want to have business, right? They're going to answer the phone calls. So they're a very high value target. They're going to have immediate influence on saving babies. Immediately they're going to start saving babies. So you're going to meet that one doula, and she's going to soak this up and she's going to run with it, just like we would have done if we were that doula, right? There's people out there that are just like you, and they're doulas and midwives. We just need to educate them. We need to give them this information. Michelle talked a lot about giving the doulas and midwives education so that they themselves can learn how to approach this subject with their own clientele and be stronger and more secure and confident in their ability to do so, to advocate for their patient, because their primary patient is not the parent, it's the child. Same for the doctor. So anyways, the doulas and midwives, I think immediately you can start saving thousands of babies. Well, if I had, I mean, how many doulas and midwives are there across the United States? If I had 1,000 Intactivists doing this, they could all be busy right now. I mean, we could have an Intactivist in every state. What is that, 50 Intactivists running these programs? So, and you're not going to run out of people to call, emails to send. You're not going to, if you get to gather the database, you're going to have lots and lots to do, okay? And we already have that. So if you're looking at this and you're saying, hey, I don't want to sit there and gather database, because I'm not going to do it. Okay, well, okay, cool. Well, guess what? We already have databases done. Help us send campaigns, help us send these emails out to these large numbers of media organizations, help us make these phone calls once we've sent out these campaigns. So the way we're going to do it, we run out 5 or 6 campaigns, 5 or 6 emails, which is a full campaign, and then we make the phone calls, okay? There's other things you can do. You don't have to do the 3 phases either. Like I said, Paul's helping us with educating Intactivists and sales techniques. Reed's helping us with data, with software development so that we can gather information more easily. So you don't have to do this. You have your own talents, your own skills, your own ideas, your own thoughts, your own contributions. And each one of us can have such a huge influence utilizing this system, utilizing these ideas. I think it's time that we really take a new look at how we're doing Intactivism and utilize these options. Okay, so support. We help create the database. We teach you how to fill it out. If you need help sending, we can get volunteers. If you don't feel comfortable doing tele-Intactivism, we can get volunteers to make phone calls to your list. We create campaigns for you. We create the campaigns for you. Our website has a blog, so the website's there to support you. The blog, you can reference it to other Intactivists. You can utilize some of the educational information on there to send to people. So we will educate you on how to influence through phone calls, how to gather data, and any questions you may have. We are here to make you better. Okay, so that's the idea of what we're doing. Someone may disagree with some portions of what we're doing, and that's okay. You still have a valuable input into what we're doing. Even if you don't agree with some of the things I've said, or it's a process and an evolution. So when we're approaching these things, we have to approach it the right way. So it's not like you just go out there and just attack people. You really have to build a connection with them first, or at least make that effort to really create a bridge between you and that person, to give them the opportunity. And it's also important that you realize that you give them the same ability that it took you to realize this. Like it took me, I'm still uncovering this, you know what I mean? Like I've been studying this for 7 years. So, and I've been studying this a lot for 7 years. I've done a lot of study into this area, and it really took me a long time to really understand how damaging it is, because it's so easy to say, hey, nobody complains. How would you have all these problems if nobody even has an issue, right? And the fact is, we're just not even aware of what the issues are that we're causing. And you can have psychological damage and never even know it. You can have sexual loss and not even know it. If you don't miss, if you're missing the tissue, how are you going to have, you don't have any frame of reference, of course. And as far as NLI, as far as taking money, like Brett's organization, cockfight.org, please donate to cockfight.org. Brett needs your money. He's going to utilize it for an extremely important youth outreach, which is the young adult outreach program that he's creating, utilizing humor and reaching young adults, called cockfight.org. And it's fantastic. And so what I don't want to do is, I didn't want to create an organization that would compete against Brett and say, hey, I need to take my donations. I'm not going to say Brett needs donations, because I'm the one that needs donations, because I got to build this. What I didn't want is to do that, because now I'm at odds with Intactivist organizations instead of in contribution with them. And so what I decided to do is, I'm sorry, go ahead, Michelle.
I think that's the struggle for Your Whole Baby with our tactics. There's a financial component that we're not able to meet. So ideally, Your Whole Baby would like to send packets to every pediatrician, every daycare center. You know, we have our infrastructure, we would be able to do that. But now at this point, it's based on donation, it's based on a family request, someone funding that process. So that is the one thing about what this particular outreach is it does. It still gives us the opportunity to protest. It still gives me the opportunity to table with Your Whole Baby. We would then be promoting those events through this outreach. So for those of us that can't travel and participate in that capacity, we're at home, we're cleaning up the social media fallout that's happening from the protests and that, but we're doing prep work the weeks leading up to it. You know, when Brett goes to wherever he's going in the fall, I literally feel like those weeks we would be diverting our attention to doing outreach into those campuses, to those media outlets there in those areas, to kind of get the buzz going for those type of events.
Yeah, see, that's the thing is, yeah, because we should have, in my opinion, every Intactivist event that ever happened should have a media outreach program for it, as long as it's, you know, something slightly worthy of potential media coverage. I mean, even one Intactivist on the street protesting, I think, is a valuable. And
the other benefit I see to this type of Intactivism, Sarah, and what appeals to me also is that we are taking this to the professionals. We are done arguing with parents and, you know, degrading them when the survey shows that they are being solicited up to 8 times. And my foster daughter that was 18 years old that just delivered a baby boy last May said her pediatrician rounded on her daily to ask her. And so I'm getting ready right now, when I resign from my hospital on the 16th, to get ready to draft a complaint. So when I say that we are getting ready with this type of Intactivism to go to take this message to the professionals and one by one hold them accountable, what I envision us doing in a sense is kind of gathering in therapists that are certified, or we have verified that they are versed enough to provide trauma-informed care to our families and our men that have been harmed by this, and make it, you know, kind of selling to them the fact that we're going to provide you referrals. So it would be in your best interest to get well-versed, because we as Intactivists are going to open this can of worms, and we're going to have a whole society of men that need trauma-informed care. Are you ready to rise to that challenge? That is what appeals to me about this, is because, yes, online, yes, we're reaching who knows how many people. We don't really know. We don't know how to measure that. But this way, when we have concrete data, we're going to somehow figure out a way to measure it. We're going to hold these professionals accountable. I think that it's needed now. You know, it's needed at this point in the game, especially because we are limited by our face-to-face outreach because of COVID right now, and just the logistics of us all trying to get together and do something. You know, this is a way that is a time commitment, not a financial commitment. Mm-hmm. And we're supporting those that are putting forth the financial commitment, doing the legwork in the front line. So
yeah, see, Brett needs money. Brett needs money, but I don't. You know what I mean? Like, I made the website. That's my contribution. My contribution was paying for the website, paying for the software that I had to create it, paying for the Zoom to have these phone calls. That's my donation to Intactivism. And so I do it through, I wanted to create a system that's completely I talked to David Wilson about this when I was at the AAP in 2018, and he mentioned that, you know, I don't know if you know who Dave Wilson is. He's kind of like a longtime Intactivist, but he's been through all the history of Intactivism. So he's seen, and he basically had a conversation with me. One of the reasons I really believe that this is the right way to approach things. And he said that all these groups, right, they have all these really good ideas and they had really good cohesion in the very beginning, but then different people started to have different ideas. They fractioned, they became this separate group, and they needed to get donations. And this group fractioned, they became this third group. And now 3 organizations are trying to get donations, and they became 4 or 5, whatever. And they're just diluting the pool, right? And they're taking away from each other. They're in this adversary type of competing role. And to me, that seemed counterproductive for the whole, what we're trying to do. And I know we've heard that, you know, it's very hard to get volunteers who are committed. And I agree with that. Like, I'm not looking for, you know, a massive number of Intactivists. What I'm looking for is a small number of really dedicated people that are not going to waste my time. They're going to take the time that I spend on them and utilize that to be more themselves, as opposed to, hey, I'm just going to, you know, take your time and then I'm just not going to do anything with it, right? Because that's going to waste my time. It's going to take me away from teaching somebody who then could go out and save thousands of babies. So literally, you cost me thousands of babies. So the way I look at this is it's kind of like a system that's already, you know, turnkey. It's completely ready for someone to jump right in, but also at whatever level they're willing to contribute. Like, nobody has to become run a whole state and do a dualism midwives of a whole state. What you could do is join one of us who are already doing something. We already have Intactivists doing the work. You know, jump in on the dualism midwives database. Do some more work in another state or whatever. But, you know, anything that you do is going to contribute to the whole, and it doesn't have to be a huge time commitment. What I say is, if you commit to at least 15 minutes a day or 2 hours a week, if you can do a 2-hour minimum. If you can do 2 hours a week, don't waste my time. I don't have time to talk with you. I have to do so much. Like, I don't have time to mess around. Like, I have to make my time efficient because I have to reach people. And so what I need is, I don't want people to call me and say, oh, I'm kind of committed, but I'm not really. Don't waste my time. Like, I don't have time for that. Like, if you're committed, jump, fill out the questionnaire. Let's get started. The motivation for this is not, I'm not going to sing your praises or give you some candy or something like that. What your motivation is, you're going to save babies. And that's your motivation is how that's going to make you feel. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Nothing's going to happen unless people start doing something. So, everyone's like, I want to help. I want to do something. I want to do something. But like, when it comes down to it and they actually have to do something, they don't want to do it anymore.
Exactly.
It just seems like, because it's work, but it's like, well, you're complaining about it, but who's going to do it? And someone's got to do it.
Well, talking about doing it and doing it are two different things. And,
right.
There's some high value to creating YouTube channels, so sending out posts on social media. Those are very valuable things. The people that are content creators are valuable, and people are considering this and discussing this are valuable. But we need people that are doing action, and that's what we're about. Is like, that's why I say, like, we're activated Intactivists. We're activated, meaning we're physically, or we're working towards a goal. We're not just talking about it. We're actually doing things. We're actually writing and creating and contacting and making phone calls and sending emails and literally doing the work. And that's what we need. We've talked about this a lot in Intactivism. I don't know how many conversations I've had with amazing Intactivists, and so many wonderful ideas sprout off into the space, into the ether, and just get lost into the entropy. And the fact is that, these great ideas, unless we put them into use, they're of no value. You probably heard that knowledge is useless without application. The proper application of knowledge is wisdom. And so knowledge is worthless without wisdom, unless you can apply it in a way that's valuable. And so that's why I think this is so important, because, we are going to literally save thousands of babies with this system. Everybody that contributes to this, you personally, you yourself can save thousands just doing what I'm going to teach you, just doing the system that's already there. It's already done, turnkey, ready to go. I'm writing a book as we're doing this. This is going to be a book. All these campaigns are going to be chapters in a book that in the end. And, we're creating this so to educate people and get this information out there. Okay, and then we're approaching the people that need to hear this and giving them the information. That's why I think it's so valuable to do this type of work. Okay, so that's kind of like the volunteer options, and I really wanted people to understand, you know, where we're coming from and what we're doing. You know, a lot of people just, you know, I want you to understand that this is your potential. This is the sky is the limit. You know what I mean? You're only limited by your own efforts and your own potential. Okay, help share this. Get people doing this. Okay. If you know intactivists that are, you know, they're tired of all the bullshit with intactivism, they're tired of low-class cutters, they're tired of, you know, debates that, you know, maybe save one or two children. I mean, it's great. Like, I'm not lying. I mean, I would do everything I've done over my entire time that I've done this for one child. If I knew that I was only going to save one child, I would do it all again to save one child.
I know.
But why not save thousands, right? If we can maximize our potential and reach a different level than what we've been doing in the past, then, you know, I don't see it happening any other way. What I see and what I don't want to happen is that slow fizzle that's happening in Canada and Australia, because there's no validation, there's no reparations, there's no legal recourse, there's still no legal recourse to the victims, there's no understanding of the psychological damage or how this has influenced our culture whatsoever. It's really crazy. But so this is very strong options for you guys, and I really want you to take this and run with it. You know, ask any questions you have. We are here to support you. Don't feel like you're alone when you're doing this. Is we want everybody to feel like, hey, I'm not just alone doing this. You know what I mean? Because I think it creates motivation to feel like, you know, hey, I'm part of a group. I'm doing something that's influential.